mixer, Graham here from the recordingrevolution.com, of course. Today, let's help you get your sampled instruments, your VIs, your virtual instruments. I'm talking synths, pads, strings, virtual pianos, the like. Let's get them to sound better in your mix because let's face it, they might sound great and you might have picked really good patches, or you might be mixing a song where they've picked really good sounding patches. They sound good by themselves and they might be appropriate for the song and the arrangement. But in the mix, they don't do what you're expecting them to do, meaning they don't jump out of the speakers. They don't have a life. They just get lost. And here's why they get lost. They get lost because they are swimming in a sea of other mid-range instruments where most of the mix is happening is your mid-range. And it's a fight. It's a battle to get space for everything, right? For example, kick drum, bass guitar, bass synth, that stuff is a lot easier to make room for because it really is their instruments all into themselves. No one has that much low end as those instruments. So they stay way down there, the bottom end. And then maybe your cymbals or percussion can really sit on top of the mix very easily because they're very high frequency content tracks and they don't need much to sit up top. But everything else, vocals, guitars, synths, keys, everything else is living in the mid-range somewhere. And your sampled instruments, your VIs, there's a way to give them a sense of space that they need. I really believe a lot of those patches, your pads, your strings, your pianos, are missing a lot of top end, okay? A lot of that upper harmonic content, that's really what they're meant to do. You don't want them to stay in the mid-range forever and compete with all your guitars and other stuff. You want them to have a life of their own. And so today I want to show you how I like to do that on VI instruments and show you why it's helpful in the mix. So first, let's start by playing a section going into the hook. And in the hook, I want you to listen to how some strings and a pad come in that fill out the top end of the spectrum. And then I'll show you what they really sound like without processing and what you can do to enhance your VIs.
You wanted solid ground, but I'm an earthquake. I'm an earthquake. A different life, and we could be perfect. Circumstances tearing us apart. A different time we could be working. So I need.
These are the two tracks I'm talking about. You got the first pad. Let's go right to the hook here. Great sound, and then you've got the string here. Okay, but really what they sound like without any processing is this. Okay, similar but not as good, and I'll show you why. So let's start with the original pad here. Every track has to have a job in the mix, right? Otherwise, it's useless, and you just might as well delete it or mute it. The job of this synth in particular is to open up the mix, give it a sense of space and airiness in the hook. And so that's why it was chosen here. It's a great arrangement decision, great production decision by the person who recorded this. Now, what my job is to do as a mixer is to make sure you feel that and hear that in the final mix, and you don't by itself. As cool as it sounds by itself, and no matter how loud you push it, it just is still competing in the mid-range. So what I like to do is take an analog style EQ, okay? All EQs in the box are digital, but one that's modeling a piece of analog equipment because it generally has a lot more harmonic content in the upper range. They sound better when you boost the upper range of analog style EQs. Now, you can use a digital EQ, you can use your stock EQ, it will get the job done, but the analog style EQs sound smoother and sweeter when you boost the top end, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in today's video. So on this pad, I grabbed the SSL channel, one of my go-tos, and what I'm using it for is first a high pass, so I'm rolling off everything below 170, clear out some space. This instrument is not meant to take up low end. That's not its job. As cool as it might sound down there, you'll never notice in the mix, so it's taking up headroom and covering up your bass. Get rid of it. The second and most important thing that I'm doing is a massive boost here. This is an 8K shelf. Okay, so it's not a notch, meaning I'm not just boosting at 8K. It's like a little table that starts boosting at 8K and everything above 8K. So it's like lifting up the whole top end, starting at around 8K. It actually slopes down a little past 8K, at least the way the EQ curve of this SSL is. And it is a massive boost of 11.8 dB. Crazy high boost for someone like me who's very subtle with EQ, because I'm doing something very specific with this patch, which is to accentuate the top end. I really want to make it way apparent that the top end is what's massively important here on this instrument. So take a listen to what this is doing to the pad. I'll start it with it off in bypass mode, and then I'll turn on this EQ boost. It's like a whole different patch, right? There's that upper frequency that just pops out. The patch seems wider. It seems like it rises to the top of your screen if you're looking at the screen visually. It has texture. You feel the pad now. You don't just hear it and go, "Oh, that sounds cool." You feel it. And that is the point here. You need to feel this patch. Now, take a listen to the string patch. It did something very similar. By itself, this is what it sounds like. Cool sound. Love the sound. But what I wanted to do was accentuate the top end again. So I grabbed the Waves Abbey Road Red console, one of my favorite plugins. I've had it for a long, long time. What I use it for primarily is this. I will grab it. I love the 37. Again, this is modeling the console that the Beatles recorded on, their actual Red 37 console. But what I like to do is take the pop setting here on the EQ and flip it over to classic, and it makes it this really nice shelf boost. I boost as high as I can go on the tone high knob here. I roll off some low end here. So very similar application to what I did on the SSL. And then I turn the output down again because it's getting a little too loud. I just want to really accentuate the top end. But take a listen to what this does to the strings. You're going to hear, again, a lift in the top end. You're going to feel the strings, and you're also going to hear more noise on the strings. Take a listen. Massive change, right? You feel this top end of the strings. It sounds really airy. You almost feel the bow crossing over the violin. That's what I'm trying to do, is bring in the feel of these instruments. So again, before and after now on just the two instruments in solo, and then we'll do it in the mix. So here they are with the processing, and then I'll take away the processing. You'll see how far we've come. All right, and now let's listen to it in context with the mix. Again, we'll be right here in the hook, but when I bypass the EQ on the two patches, you'll basically hear that they kind of disappear. They fall down into the mix and just kind of get lost in the shuffle with everything else.
A different life, and we could be perfect. But circumstances tearing us apart. A different time, we could be working. I love you so, I need to break your heart. I love you so, I need to break your heart.
Right? When they're gone, when the EQ is gone, those patches are kind of there, but they don't do much. But when you bring in the EQ, now the chorus has the lift that it was originally intended to have. That's why I believe the producer put these tracks there, was when it comes to the hook, the lift is supposed to be the thing you feel when you go, we're in the chorus. Obviously the hook changes, the vocal changes, but it's that texture piece that helps you as the listener go, this is the hook where it opens up and lifts. And that's why a strategic heavy boost in the upper frequencies, especially with an analog style EQ, can do wonders to your sampled pianos, strings, pads, synths, any kind of VI instrument like that, where you really want it to be a texture upper piece. I hope that helps you this week. Leave me a comment below the video and let me know, did this help you? If so, why? And if not, that's fine. You can let me know. If you like the video, subscribe to them, watch all the other videos on the channel. And if you, just for you who live here on YouTube land and you haven't gone over to the actual Recording Revolution, you're missing out on over half the other content that's put out there weekly, as well as my exclusive stuff that I send out only to my mailing list. It's absolutely free. I send stuff out every week, extra content and training and opportunities that I don't post anywhere. I don't post on the blog. I don't post on YouTube. I don't post on social media. It's just to my subscribers' inbox. It's absolutely free to jump on there. In fact, if you join today, it's easy and quick, and I'm going to send you a free mixing video series called the Smart Start to Mixing, which will blow you away in terms of giving you a better framework of how to start your mixes to get them to sound phenomenally better without changing anything else about your DAW or your plugins, just the way you start your mix. I'll send that to you absolutely free. And then, of course, an ebook that I've been sending out for a long, long time now that gives you an entire framework of how to deal with your gear, get better recordings and stuff in your studio. It's super practical, super fun. It's called the number one rule of home recording. I'll send that to you absolutely free just for joining the mailing list. And like I said, you're missing out on so much of the content if you're not on it, and it's absolutely free. That's it for today, my friend. Have a great week. Make some great music. Have fun. And I'll see you on another video real soon.